Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the LuxReal Young Talents Podcast. I'm your host for today. My name is Julia, and we're recording live from the Deloitte studio. In our last two episodes, we took a deep dive into the housing market in Luxembourg. First, the challenges of the rental market, how to tackle that, and afterwards, how is it buying your first home in Luxembourg in one of the most competitive markets in Europe? But today, we're taking a next step into our housing series, co-living. So what does co-living really look like? Who's it for? And what goes on behind the scenes when you're trying to develop a project like that? To help you answer these questions, I'm very excited to welcome our two guests from Lionstone and Many. We will talk about the concept, development challenges, and what it's like working with the city together and make a co-living project come back to life. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
Hello, Julia. Thanks for the invitation. My name is Henry. I'm the co-founder of Lionstone, a Luxembourg-based real estate development fund with a focus on residential developments in the Netherlands and in Luxembourg. Today, we are one of the biggest land developers in Luxembourg, and this year we got the permit for a co-living project just 4 tram stops away from your office. This is the reason, I'm here. Thank you.
Hello, Julia and Henry. Nice to meet you. Thank you, Julia, for the invitation. So I'm Nicolas, co-founder and CEO of Mini, which is a company specialized in providing a flexible way of living, especially in Luxembourg. And by design, we are fully connected with co-living.
So great to have you both here. So can you give us a little insight? How does a co-living project look like, and what difference does it have to like a normal apartment building or a shared flat?
Yeah, so for me, there is not only one definition of co-living, because co-living means literally living together. But there is one definition that we can apply when it comes to share a home with people in Luxembourg. So in a nutshell, co-living is a living model designed to simplify urban living for new generation, but not only, seeking flexibility over long-term commitments. In co-living, residents prefer to share spaces and access services rather than own or manage everything themselves, and where each residence combines a fully private space with optimized shared area. At the end, co-living, in my opinion, is a way to decrease the feeling of loneliness based on the built-in community of like-minded people, making it easier to connect and integrate. We can say that it's a lifestyle focused on experiences, convenience, and freedom rather than obligations.
Yeah, I can add that co-living is residential at heart, so it's designed on how people live and work today. So it's more about sharing. It's a co-working, car sharing. There's no ownership in that model, and it's operated professionally. So in the end, you have structured contracts with transparent rents, services. There's no deposit you have to pay. There's no agency fee, and no minimum rental period. Well, Nicola might get into that afterwards, but that's how we see it. And there's no solvency screening, so it's easy to access.
Oh, that sounds almost too good to be true, to be honest, specifically looking at how the rental market currently is developing and how difficult it is to find a flat. But what are like the legal requirements? Do you have a specific minimum size, and where are like the boundaries of it?
There is a law that came out in December 2019, to be specific, and it defines rules on a room rental model. So it's not designed for co-living, but it sets a certain frame which makes light refurbishments of existing housing to adapt it to co-living quite difficult. So we use that to to develop our co-living project exactly to that law. So it's you have minimum room size of 9 square meters per occupant. You have minimum window sizes, ventilation requirements, and fire safety. So there is a legal framework.
Yeah, actually, Henry is right. But when you see flat sharing in the market, it's not new at all. So what was missing before was that legal framework protecting both tenants and owners. And as you explained, Henry, this legal framework is evolving and increasingly adapting to professional co-living standards with new regulation aiming at ensuring quality, safety, proper management across the sector. Still a working process. That rules are strict for developers, and some operators or owners choose not to comply due to the complexity and cost of meeting all these requirements. So as a resident, I would advise them to be very, very cautious when choosing an operator or a property.
No, that definitely makes sense. And could you maybe describe how co-living projects are different to the traditional residential one that we're all aware of?
But from a development point of view, it's not pure residential, so it's rather a small hotel you're developing. On the technical part, you have higher mechanical, electrical, and plumbing loads. So in the morning, you have potentially, well, in our case, we have 113 rooms. Let's say 60 tenants showering at the same time, 113 iPhones charging during the night. So the loads are quite different, and you have to develop that building to meet all these requirements. So it's a purpose-built development project.
113 room, it's quite big. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more details about your big project? And I think what also would be really interesting, since it's a rising topic, how easy was it to find an investor for your project?
So yeah, we have, as you said, 113 rooms, 20 square meters on average, 11 common areas, one super common area, and fitness spread over 4,700 square meters. And yeah, to find a bank who was willing to finance the acquisition of that plot was not easy at all, because co-living is not yet a model investors, lenders are used to. And this is why we had to knock on many doors to get the financing for that project. And in the end, when we got the permit, we thought it was quite easy to find an investor. There was one Big Four managing partner who immediately called me and said, this is for us, as housing is a major issue for Big Fours and for their new joiners. And in the end, it was the city of Luxembourg who wanted to go with us. So it wasn't the highest bid, but for us it was the safest bid, the most viable partner to make it a co-living. We were aiming for, like, let's say, affordable living. It's not profit maximizing like private investors that have to be profit maximizing in most cases. So yeah, the city of Luxembourg was the first who jumped on a big opportunity. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the example of Henry's is very representative of what developing a co-living project is. So yeah, it's not easy, as you understood. So we have to understand that co-living is still a new asset class in Luxembourg, and we still have an ongoing and necessary education to make towards all the stakeholders on the line. And as an operator, we still act as a catalyst, explaining the model to municipalities, government bodies, to financial institutions. I spent the last 2 weeks explaining the banks and all the corporate banking departments what it means co-living in terms of business model and risk mitigation, etc. And local authorities and banks often need clarity on operational model, the risk profile, the long-term benefits before supporting a project. So there is a strong need to standardize the understanding of co-living across the ecosystem to unlock more projects, and ideally good ones. And as early adopters, we spend, and as you, Henry, significant time demonstrating the market demand, the social value, the economic viability of co-living.
No, I think it's really important that people actually understand what is co-living for and how does it work. But from like a target point of view, like who do you see living in a co-living project?
All of them. So young professionals, newcomers, expats, project-based staff, or medical educational rotation people, and people who are in life transitions, which is quite often the case in Luxembourg, or I guess also in other countries, but these are the target groups we were aiming for.
Yeah, fully concur on Henry's position. I would add some figures to complete the view. Actually, we have 500 units under management, and we receive every month 700 new demands to candidates to our accommodation. So that's huge. And so the demand is high. And to give you also a view surprising on the average age of our tenants, it's actually 35, which is quite high because I was expecting less, to be honest. But we don't have only very young tenants. We have people with any kind of profile. So that's very interesting. And I would add just in terms of targets, co-living is for people who want to live with other people, which is very important.
I think that's really the key message here. And could you maybe summarize just quickly the advantages, but also the disadvantages of co-living?
Yeah, so for me, co-living has a lot of advantages, especially regarding Luxembourg, because Luxembourg is the second country with the highest rate of immigration in Europe. That shows that there is an opportunity to develop that kind of concept. And people are coming from everywhere, so we need to connect them to fight against loneliness. So this is the real advantage. And also the challenges is that in complement to what you said, Henry, in developing a new co-living building, is that Luxembourg is still expensive. So we are building sort of plug-and-play solution, flexible and accessible solution for people coming from the world. But when they arrive, it's still expensive. So we still need to work with government, cities, employers maybe to address this housing access.
No, I definitely agree. And since our time is coming to an end, one final, actually short question. Do you see co-living as the housing model of the future?
Short question, short answer. Yes. So from our perspective, it will remain a permanent segment in the housing mix, and it's best delivered, purpose-built, legally compliant, and in the right micro-location.
Yeah, fully agree. I would just add a small nuance, even if my objective is to promote co-living. For me, there is one challenge that employers should see or address is to use co-living to help with talent attraction and relocation. With rising housing costs and changing lifestyle, co-living, in my opinion, is just the first piece of a larger transformation needed in the housing ecosystem.
No. Thank you both so much for being here today and all your insights. I think it's really good for our listeners, and now they are aware of co-living and all the opportunities and challenges. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in, and hope to hear you soon on the next episode.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you, Julia.